Summer. Welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pro wrestling podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. I'm your host. My name is Victoria Daisy, and today we're going to be recapping everything that happened last night on Monday Night Raw. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. But let's dive right into the opening segment with our new World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. So he came out to cut his first promo as champion, and he started off by thanking the fans and the people around him who pushed him to get to where he is today. Then he thanked Jey Uso for the great fight, and he said that he wants to continue to be friends with Jey Uso, but he understands if that can't be. Then he referenced a line that he dropped 2 years ago when he returned to the company. Actually, I think it's almost 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it might be 2 years. Yeah, it's 2 years. I'm a liar. He said, "I am not here to make friends, but I am here to make money." If you guys were here 2 years ago when he returned back to WWE, that was what he said in his first promo back. And he did reference that again because he understands that not everyone is going to sit here and want to play friendship. He is just here to make money. Then he talked about how after SummerSlam, he learned that you need to be ready on your toes for anything to happen, because obviously we know he beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, but then 3 minutes later, Seth freaking Rollins came running down that ramp, surprised everyone he wasn't injured, and cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and became the new World Heavyweight Champion. And he said, after SummerSlam, he learned that he has to be ready for anything. And now he's happy that Seth won't be slithering around Monday Night Raw, but that doesn't mean he still has a huge target on his back. It very much does mean that. He is the new World Heavyweight Champion. We know this for any champion. There's always going to be a target on your back. And he said that he's ready because he is the best in the world. He said that he wants to test himself against the best of the best this company has to offer. Then he called out John Cena and said that if he wants some, he can come get some, because he talked about how he knows that John Cena only has a couple of dates left and he's doing this whole tournament, but if by any means he wants to wrestle Punk, he is more than welcome to. Then we had the return of the Maverick, Logan Paul, and guys, the reaction was big. Was it a positive one? No. But the reaction was still very loud. I was very shocked to see him back. I thought that he was gone after, getting married, having a baby, starting his life. And that was going to be totally fine if he chose to do that, chose to focus on family. That's totally awesome. But he's back. And as a big Logan Paul fan, I'm very excited. So Punk said that he regrets what he said. And he said, quote, "Anybody but you," referring to Logan Paul, how he regrets saying that, he opened, it wasn't an open challenge, but basically kind of how he opened the floor to anybody. And he's like, "Anybody but you." Then Logan pleaded his case for earning a title opportunity, since he said he's been in the ring and beat some of the greatest of all time. And of course, he rung in mega heat from that. Then the Vision came out. Paul Heyman and the Braun Browns came out to express how Logan has no business being here, and this spot belongs to Bronson Reed, the tribal thief. Then Braun Breaker got on the mic to let Punk know that he needs to keep the title warm because he's coming for it. Then he threatened to fight Punk and Logan, to which Punk replied and said to Logan, "You're either going to fight with me or fight against me." So Logan made his choice and he left the ring. And so the Braun Browns went at it and attacked Punk. Big shock here, but then a actual shock. Logan Paul started showing glimmers of a babyface Logan as he ran back into the ring to go defend and help Punk fight the Braun Browns. That was definitely a huge shock, because Logan Paul is probably one of the, if not the biggest heels in the WWE currently. And so for him to even have a moment where he was fighting back and forth, trying to figure out if he really wanted to be a good guy for a second and help out Punk, he did make that decision. Now, is he a full-term babyface? I don't know. You're gonna have to wait till the end of this episode, which we will discuss the ending events that led to that answer of that question. But it's so funny because you guys know that I take notes throughout watching the shows so that when I do this podcast, I have all my thoughts together and pivotal moments. And it's like cliff notes of what happened. And it's funny because as I'm reading my notes right now, I literally wrote down, it looks like we're getting a full face turn. I'm actually going to read to you what my notes say because it's kind of a giggle at this point. And this is exactly what I wrote down. Now, do I think that this will be a full face turn? Not necessarily, but maybe they're testing it out. I wrote, maybe they're testing it out. Okay, I continue to say that wouldn't make sense because he's a top heel. They need to give him more time. Look at Dirty Dom, for example. He was the most hated man in WWE for years, and now he is getting loud roars and pops from the crowd, and Logan's time will come. Now, Logan Paul is not a babyface. He's most definitely a heel. Obviously, what we saw in that main event, we'll talk about it later in this episode, but it's kind of a giggle that I wrote that down, not knowing what was coming. But I really do believe that if you do give him time, he can be a babyface in a couple of years. I mean, I never thought I'd see Dominic Mysterio get absolutely cheered the way he has nowadays compared to what he was 2 years ago. So anyways, I thought it was a really good opening segment. It sucked. Okay, wait, let me backtrack. Having the Vision each and every week is 50-50 because they are the top faction right now. So it's like really hard to continue doing stuff with them week in, week out without it being boring. But I actually thought that this was really fun, especially incorporating Punk and the return of Logan Paul. I thought that that was really good. And it actually felt like there was purpose and substance to the promo and the story being told here. So really pleased with the opening segment. But let's head into the first match of the night. We had our Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer teaming up with Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day. Now, this was a really fun match, great showcase for the ladies of the Judgment Day as they are the younger talent in this match. I mean, truly, same for Stephanie as well. Nikki just is an icon and just knows how to let them shine. And I'm going to pop in a quick theory I have here because later in the evening, we had a backstage segment. Actually, or no, was it before this? I can't remember if it was before or after this match, but Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella were backstage, and I dropped a theory a week or two ago talking about how I believe Nikki Bella is going to turn heel. Okay? She's turning heel. I don't care what anyone says. But now I feel like we have more evidence to that theory. So in this backstage segment, it was the two of them backstage, obviously. And, they were just talking about stuff, and Nikki basically, this had to have been after the match, because she was basically talking about how she feels bad they lost, and she, doesn't feel like she has her same spark again, and like really just expressing insecurities. And so Stephanie came in and really reassured her, like, you are Nikki Bella, you are the greatest of all time, yada, yada, yada. And I just feel like this is all to get on Stephanie's good side so she can eventually turn. She's sharing her insecurity. She's being reassured by the champion. And if you guys weren't here 10 years ago during Nikki Bella's prime, then you have no idea the treat you're in for, the ride you are in for, because Nikki Bella is a menace, okay? She can't be babyface for long. That's something we just know to be fact, okay? She turned on her own sister, Brie Bella, at SummerSlam a decade ago in the most gruesome way. I'm not even, you can Google it yourself, but I know it's coming. I know those Nikki Bella heel instincts. It's just who she is. And so I'm very excited for the day we get to see that, although I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later, and I think it will be a run for the title. Do I think she'll win it? Probably not, but it'll all be to put Stephanie over in the end, which I am very excited about. Back to the match, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez took the W, and it all ended because Roxanne Perez pulled a fast one on Nikki, which kind of pissed me off, but whatever. I guess we're just putting over young talent right now. Anyways, then we had a match between Penta and El Grande Americano. Now, this was actually kind of a good match, to be honest. Obviously, Penta is him. Like, let's be so for real, he's so tough, he's him. But I continue to be pleasantly surprised by Grande's in-ring ability. Now, obviously, it's Ludwig Kaiser. But I do feel that ever since he's taken on this role as El Grande Americano, I feel like he's just gotten so much better. We've learned he's trilingual. didn't know he could speak multiple languages. His promos have been better. His in-ring work has been better. Obviously, disguising yourself as a luchador, you have to adapt to lucha libre style of wrestling, and I definitely do think he has picked up a lot of that, which is awesome. This match had a lot of fun spots and move sequences, and some of the things just had my jaw on the ground, truly. But in the end, I'm reading ahead of my notes, guys. Penta took the W, but after we had a Dominic Mysterio segment, and Dom got on the mic to give himself flowers, obviously, about how he is the greatest champion. And honestly, that's just stating facts that we already know because he's him, okay? And then we had our second return of the night with his father, Rey Mysterio. We have not seen Rey since early 2025, since right before WrestleMania, he got injured. And he's been MIA since on the road to recovery, and he is back. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Once Rey's music hit, I popped. I was gagged. And if you guys have been listening to my podcast since the beginning of the year, then you guys know I'm not a big fan of Rey Mysterio. Never have been, never will be. I know that's a crazy statement to make, but everyone has their favorites and least favorites, and he just happens to be one of my least favorites. Please don't kill me. Anyways, but I actually did really pop, and that was because the second I heard his music, I already knew what storyline we were going down the road with, and I just knew, and I know it's about a cook. I'm so excited. So Rey got on the mic to say that Dom can run his mouth all that he wants, but he's drawing the line at the greatest luchador of all time. Since Dominic was claiming to be that, Rey disagrees. Rey brought up legendary luchadors, but the last person he brought up was Eddie Guerrero, and Dom came back guns blazing to tell Rey to keep his father's name out of his mouth, which had me pissing myself. I still love how decades later we are still telling the story about Eddie Guerrero being Dominic's father. It's the funniest crap ever. I loved it. And then they just started going back and forth both verbally and physically, and that was pretty much the end of the segment, but it was really good. And I feel like now they are setting up hopefully a blockbuster match that could potentially, be at Survivor Series War Games. Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, possibly. It seems that they are setting up to continue this father-son storyline rivalry. Obviously we saw that happen earlier in Dom's career. They took a break from it and now they're back, and I am just super excited about it. Then we had a impromptu Becky Lynch promo segment. So she came out of nowhere while the commentators were talking on the commentary table. Wait, that's kind of what I just said. I'm repeating myself. Crap. Anyways, Michael Cole and who was it, Wade Barrett, they were talking, and all of a sudden she got on the commentary table to talk, and it was kind of random. So she came out and basically cut an entire promo on Maxine Dupree, and I thought we were past Maxine Dupree. I guess we are no longer past her. We are still in the Maxine Dupree era. Now, every time Maxine is getting brought up, especially in this segment, the crowd went crazy, which we loved. Now, Maxine did not come out, but she did welcome Maxine to the big times and let her know that she will never win in her life. Now, I have this feeling that they are really trying to push the hell out of Maxine Dupree, which I have no issues with. I love Maxine and I want her to have big things in life. But I could see a world, and just hear me out, but I could see a world where Maxine Dupree wins the Women's Intercontinental Championship by the end of this storyline. There it goes. I said it. I'm being honest. I see it happening. The way they are pushing her, the way Becky is putting her over so much, it's leading me to believe that. She is already building the star power with the fans. She's getting so freaking good in the ring. Her promos are good. Like, guys, come on. I fear it's coming. But let's move on to the next match of the night. We had the Kabuki Warriors versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, this was a pretty fun match. I mean, lots of storytelling here throughout, which made it 10 times better. There was also a lot of amazing move sequences and spots. I mean, come on, it's the four of them. They're going to be great. But in the end, Kabuki Warriors won via submission on Lyra, where she tapped, which was definitely a questionable ending. But after the match, the Kabuki Warriors were about to attack Lyra again, but then the women's tag team champions, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, came out for the save and scared them off, and that was kind of that. Obviously, they are kind of building to some sort of match between the Kabuki Warriors and Alexa and Charlotte, so curious to see if that ends up happening maybe at Survivor Series or the next Saturday night's main event. We shall see. Then we had a match for the World Tag Team Championships, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Judgment Day. Another solid match. It wasn't anything out of this world, but I did like it. And I thought it was a great challenge for Styles and Lee compared or against the Judgment Day, who are two really solid competitors. A lot of great in-ring chemistry between everyone that led them to just having a great match. But of course, in the end, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee retained. Then we had an announcement for the Last Time Is Now tournament, which for those who didn't watch Saturday night's main event this past weekend, it was announced that for John Cena's final opponent for his retirement match, it will be chosen via tournament. 16 men chosen at random from Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and NXT. Plus, apparently, this is a quote from John Cena, even faces that don't work here. I don't know what that means, but we will find out. And so the first two matches for this tournament that will be taking place next week on Monday Night Raw in Boston, Massachusetts. John Cena will be there. The first one is Rusev and Damian Priest, Rusev versus Damian Priest, and then Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus. If I had to take a guess on who's advancing, I'd probably say Damian Priest and Shinsuke, but obviously we shall see. So both of these matches are taking place next week on Monday Night Raw. That's when the tournament begins. And stay tuned this week on Friday Night SmackDown. Nick Aldis will take his turn to announce two more matches, again taking place next week on Friday Night SmackDown. So with that being said, let's head into the main event. We had Jey Uso and our new World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk taking on the Vision, the Bron. It was a really great match, okay? I mean, when you put your best talent or some of your best talent all in one match, I mean, it's a guaranteed banger. So much rich storytelling sandwiched into great moves and spots and just literally everything. Although the ending kind of was questionable. It ended in a double count out. All four men were outside of the ring for more than 10 seconds, which caused the match to end. And after the bell rang, they continued to attack each other viciously. And then Logan Paul came back out with brass knuckles ready to attack the Bron, but then went back to his roots and absolutely waffled Punk and Jey Uso, seemingly siding with the Vision. And after that, we had a very interesting moment. So Logan Paul gave his brass knuckles to Paul Heyman, and they both exchanged a very mischievous, suspect smirk to each other. It was very weird and very sus. And so it kind of gave me the impression that this was something that was premeditated, something that maybe Paul Heyman gave Logan Paul a call and said, hey, can you come back to work? We need more people on deck, and you're the perfect person for that job. I think he is another additional great mouthpiece to the Vision, and somebody who has swag and star power that, and I say star power as in just like he's a big name. And he could bring a lot to the Vision. And I don't know if he's a permanent member or if this is all just for the buildup of War Games, because I do anticipate a Brock Lesnar return once again for War Games to align with the Vision. So, there's a lot going on here as we are gearing up to War Games in just 4 weeks, I believe, 3-4 weeks. So, the road to Survivor Series is here, and I'm very excited about it. But let's head into my overall thoughts. Overall, I thought it was a really good show. My match of the night was hands down Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella versus the Judgment Days, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Minus the finish, it was a really good match. My segment of the night, hands down, was the opening segment, getting to see Punk cut his first promo as champion, seeing him walking around with the title, and then having that awesome Logan return. It was really good. Overall, I'd rate the show about an 8 out of 10, so pretty good rating for Raw. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Of course, there was moments that I wasn't too happy about, but overall for what we've been getting, it was good. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.